Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum story arc, where previously, as Platinum has now, instead of accidentally stumbling into gym battles, is now more assertedly going for them. While she did try to obtain a grass Pokemon before taking on the water gym leader Crasher Wake, she does end up, much like with her battle against Maylene, borrowing a Pokemon from Diamond, namely Torterra. And with what she had learned on her adventure trying to catch a grass Pokemon, she's able to overcome her, earning her 4th out of 8 gym badges. The trio also ends up running into Cynthia, who is still, setting about the land, righting wrongs here and there. Like, gotta love the champions. They are like pillars of the community wherever they go. No sitting on their laurels when it comes to them. They have an image to maintain, a rep, But along the way, they end up running into none other than Cynthia's grandmother, known in some adaptations as Caroline, so that's what I call her, who's all about myths and legends, specifically that of the 3 Lake Guardians, the 3 Lakes of Sinnoh more specifically. While Cynthia's on her own mission, our trio of heroes decide to escort Cynthia's grandmother back home to Celestic Town, only for when they arrive, they find none other than Cyrus invading a sacred Celestic ruin that tells tale of the 3 Lake Guardians, information that Caroline says is imperative that he not be allowed to read, or at the very least keep. But now knowing that Cyrus is not only behind the little cave-in they had a while back, very indiscriminate action, he's also the head of Team Galactic, the very same people who were after Platinum before. While Pearl wants to beat feet and get out of there and not put Platinum in harm's way, Diamond is intensely motivated to stop Cyrus because he knows that should Cyrus get this information, it goes beyond just him not being allowed to read it. No, anything that Team Galactic is up to is no bueno, especially after what happened to Paka and Uji. This puts Diamond and Pearl a bit at odds, but ultimately Pearl understands where Diamond is coming from and helps his friend double down on opposing Cyrus, especially after Cyrus even goes so far as to invite them to join Team Plasma. The answer, by the way, is no. What'll happen next? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Chapter 33, Problematic Probopass and Mad Magnezone Part 3. Oh, we have Fantina floating above on her Drifblim. I guess she's floating by across the town? Was she looking for everyone, or is she just passing by? He says, "Oh, so," and we see Diamond and Pearl having a standoff with Cyrus right after Chatot destroyed Cyrus's camera with the information about the Lake Guardians. But, I don't know, it's hard to say if Cyrus is angry or not. He simply says, "That's your final answer?" He laughs, bewildering Diamond and Pearl. But yeah, he starts making loud shouts and some energy. Oh no, it's Probopass and Magnezone. It's like they're blowing in something? I'm not sure. Caroline, watching from the sidelines with Platinum and Cynthia's Garchomp, says, "The louder he yells, the greater his Pokemon's power gets." The fog. He's even changed the direction of the wind. The fog from Route 210 is blowing into town. Platinum thinks, "I can't see my hand in front of my face. Where are Diamond and Pearl? Grandma, I'm gonna try and find them." Platinum is held back by Cynthia's Garchomp as Carolina says, "It's too dangerous." Platinum says, But then Cyrus says, "Earth power," raising his hands, and as such, the ground beneath Diamond and Pearl begins to raise, sending them rocketing up into the sky, screaming, while their Pokemon watch on. Jeez! Diamond and Pearl find themselves teetering on a little sliver of earth right under their feet, high above in the sky. Cyrus tells them, "And this is my answer to your answer." Pearl thinks, A ground attack combined with an ultra-strong magnetic force that draws the very minerals from the ground. Our defiance was nothing compared to this. I can't believe he's pulling out all the stops to show off his superior power. He doesn't care that we're just a couple of kids. This guy won't tolerate anyone standing up to him. Cyrus then pulls out his Poke gear, saying, I've remained here longer than I planned. I'm going to be late for my meeting, and a tardy commander is no role model for his henchmen. He then brings out his haunch crow and has it use the fog. Oh, he has a flying car too. God damn. We must shop at the same place Wallace does. As the fog starts to dissipate, Platinum says the fog, and Caroline finishes saying, it's clearing up. Oh my, she says as she sees Cyrus's own flying car come flying overhead. I mean, either that or he stole it from Wallace. As Cyrus's car lands next to him, he goes in order to enter, but he takes one last look back at the ruins, then back at Diamond and Pearl. He thinks to himself, an unyielding will and pure emotion. Add knowledge to that, and the picture is complete. Okay, he knows they're the key. They're the key to summoning the Lake Guardians. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's not good. Cyrus then takes off, flying off into the distance, leaving Diamond and Pearl stranded. Carolina says, phew, he's finally gone. Pearl says, the atmosphere instantly transformed. Diamond says, that's the difference between his presence and his absence. That's saying something. Platinum calls out, at least we're together. Just be thankful that we're all okay. Carolina then says, that's not all. That boy risked his life to steal that man's camera. Thanks to you, young man. He didn't take any pictures of the wall murals with him. I'm ever so thankful for your help. Pearl then says, huh? Yeah, that's my idea for you. But Pearl notices that Diamond seems to be preoccupied looking towards something. Or, I'm not even sure. There's an awkward silence between the two of them. Carolina then brings out her Pokegear saying, well, I'd better tell Cynthia what happened. I do so hate to be the bearer of bad news. She has a little milk tank moo milk keychain on her Pokegear. He says, Cynthia, I have something to tell you about the murals in the ruins. You don't hear Cynthia's response, but Carolina says they've been seen by an outsider. You also don't hear Cynthia's response to that. Platinum asks, what did Cynthia say, Grandma? What will happen to the ruins now? Carolina says, well, I can't leave them exposed like this. He says she'll organize a defense for them. The Celestic Self-Defense Force. Oh, is it going to be the Elite Four? Because usually the champion's able to bring the Elite Four together. Platinum gives a look of relief saying, wonderful, they'll be safe then. Carolina says, you're worried about the ruins too, young lady? Platinum says, I am. I'm a student of archaeology. I'm fascinated by the records people leave for us from the past. When I caught a glimpse of the drawings in the cave today, they touched my heart. And that wasn't all. I was trying to figure out what Platinum was doing with her hand, like she's slamming a wall next to her or something. The drawing on either side of the entrance, the one facing each other, had the same effect on me. They touched me deeply. I can only suppose they were made to tell us something very important. That man took a long look at them before he left. Perhaps they're related to the drawings inside. Carolina thinks to herself, oh, he was committing them to memory. If he couldn't take the pictures, he'd at least memorize them. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh no, Platinum, she's slapping the little pillar that Diamond and Pearl are on. Platinum gets, overly excited, slapping the stone pillar saying, I'd like to help guard the murals too. But Diamond and Pearl shout out, please, lady, stop. It's unstable enough without you whacking the tower like that. And then it just snaps in half and they go plummeting. Oh, only to be saved by a Dusclops? Or Duskull, there we go. Not Dusclops, Duskull. Oh, right, I forgot about Fantina being in the area. Much to the shock of Platinum and Carolina, they're set down upon the top of Driftblim, with Fantina hanging from the bottom saying, Zutolo, that was close. Diamond and Pearl shout out, Fantina. Pearl says, you saved us, thank you. Fantina says, I was just passing through the patrol. Diamond questions patrol. Fantina says, I was very surprised when I see that the fight is all about. And the winds, they change and we get all, how you say, foggy. Diamond says, you saw the fight? Fantina says, oh yes. Past due too, but my Driflim got swept away by the wind. pulling me far away from it. Que terrible, n'est-ce pas? Pearl says, yes, terrible. Though he brings out his Pokédex. You guys rode on Drifblim for a hot minute. Why are you only just now getting the Pokédex out for it? Well, the entry says Drifblim, the blimp Pokemon. It carries people and Pokemon when it flies, but since it only drifts, it can end up anywhere. That would explain why Fantina from what I've heard, has a tendency not to always be at her gym some of the time. Though you could say she's a bit flighty. But Fantina calls out, oh, mes amis, now that we are together, I would like to see it again. Your comedy routine. Pearl is taken aback by this. As Fantina says, it is the least you could do after I have saved you. Pearl thinks to himself while he looks at Diamond. I guess he's still not sure about the air between the two of them, or how to proceed after everything that Diamond told him. Pearl thinks, you got bad timing, Fantina. Di and I just had the biggest fight we've ever had since we became a team. Nothing's clear anymore. But Diamond then just calls out, sure, Fantina, much to Pearl's shock. Pearl just says, speaking of Pokemon. Diamond says, speaking of Pokemon. Diamond says, speaking of Pokemon, something. Pearl thinks to himself, he started the gag himself. Diamond says, battling, training, evolving, trading, healing, catching, hatching. There's a lot to it. Oh, those are all the Pokedex holders' abilities. Pearl thinks to himself, I don't recognize this one. Is he ad-libbing? Diamond says, so speaking of Pokemon, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's a journey. But everybody goes on some kind of journey, a journey of the soul. You learn about yourself and others, and I can't put it into words. What do I say now? Pearl says, that's good, you're on the right track. You go on one of these trips, just watch out that you don't trip. Fantina yucks it up big time as she picks up Platinum. I love Drifblim just grabbing Platinum. And so, with Fantina and Platinum being taken up by Drifblim from the bottom, Platinum calls out, goodbye, Grandma, thank you. And Carolina calls out, take care, as the Chingling, and Garchomp wave goodbye. But at the top of the Drifblim, Pearl says, Dia, I'm sorry, please, say you'll still be my partner. And after a brief pause, Diamond says, I will. Hearing that they've made up, Platinum smiles, and they drift off into the distance. Man, I don't know. See, I'm as uncertain as Pearl now, too. Because again, I've said it before, and, people in the comments have said, Diamond's little moment here, there was no animosity to it. It's just that he needed Pearl to understand something, because Pearl's way of thinking was forcing things into one direction that Diamond just couldn't fully go with. He didn't oppose Pearl's plan of leaving, but he knew that Cyrus needed to be stopped in that instant. I'm just curious about things going forward. Will Pearl get a little too caught up in his feelings and start making mistakes or second-guessing himself? And that's very hard to say because, Pearl kind of got on the ball once he knew what needed to be done. He wasn't going to leave Diamond out in the cold in this situation, so he still cares a lot, so that definitely means something. Alright, chapter 34, Drifting Drifblim. Oh, that one specific grunt. Does he have a name? Advanced level grunt. Wow. Advanced level underling. Ain't much of a name, okay? I guess the advanced grunt brings up from the drone he recovered at the Lost Tower, the last image it had of Platinum. He, zooms in, enhances, despite the fact that that's not really how that works. If the image was taken and it's a little bit fuzzy, you might be able to do something with it to kind of restore it, maybe, but it wouldn't come back as clear as that. But he does it, saying, there we go. Now she's recognizable, the daughter of the Berlitz family, the richest people in the Sinnoh region. Not only rich, but a family of scholars. In fact, her father is a Pokemon researcher. He works for Professor Rowan, and is currently attending a conference in Kanalov City. One thing's odd, though. Very odd. Oh, he's literally watching from a plane currently flying overhead just as Rowan and Mr. Berlitz come out of one of the conference buildings. He's just observing from his plane. He even has a digital readout of them saying his daughter left home and went on a journey. On the eve of her departure, her father assigned 2 bodyguards, guards to protect to protect her. But neither bodyguard was heard from again, leaving her alone and unprotected. However, her father seems unperturbed. He shows no signs of distress and attends the conference symposiums daily. I suspect his daughter didn't inform her that her bodyguards have gone missing. That might be a good time. This might be a good time to make our move, he says, printing out an image of Platinum. The narration then says, after the incident in Celestic Town, our trio were rescued and transported through the skies of Sinnoh. And as they touch down, Fantina says, they say this is, Fantina says, correct, my hometown, Hearthome City. I think Driftblim is defogging the area. Pearl staggers on his feet saying, Hearthome? We're right back where we started. Diamond says, pull yourself together. Platinum says, thank you for the ride. Fantina jokes, saying, are you speaking from the heart? I don't know why I found that so funny. It's such a bad joke. It's such a bad joke. I don't know why I found that funny. Platinum says, we really appreciate you catching us and carrying us on your Driftblim, but we've backtracked so far we're almost worse off than before. Will we ever get to climb Mount Coronet? Actually, returning to Hearthome might not be so bad. I hear this city has a gym leader too, who I haven't challenged yet. Pearl says, huh? You want to fight another gym battle already? Platinum says, yes. Now that we're here, I want to fight every gym leader. Yep. Fantina says, ooh la la. What a trust-born idea. I will fight you any day. The kids pause, and then Diamond says, Fantina, you're great at contests, but lady wants to fight a gym leader. Fantina says, oh, but naturellement, I accept. They all say, huh? Pearl says, Fantina, you're a gym leader? And she just twirls around saying, I love the spirit of the competition. So I have studied very much about Pokémon to become a gym leader. Now let us have how you say, a rumble. Come on. I must warn you though, I do not intend to lose. Diamond and Pearl then start the routine at the Grand Hotel of Hearthome. Pearl saying, speaking of Pokemon. Diamond says, speaking of Pokemon. Pearl says, they enter gym battles. Diamond says, yeah, like the one we're about to have against Fantina. I don't think Lady stands a chance. Pearl says, that's awfully pessimistic. Diamond says, I'm telling you, she's got a Fatina chance of winning. Oof. Pearl then says, let's be optimistic. With the right strategy, she might defeat her. The opponent's Pokemon type is, here we go, Fantina prefers to use Ghost-type Pokemon, he says, looking at a guide. Diamond then brings out a toaster saying, then she's toast. Pearl smacks him with the toast from it. Diamond then starts putting honey on the toast saying, not too shabby, I guess. Pearl says, true, but Diamond, I have a suggestion. I think we've nailed our standard routine and puns, but performers need a wide range of repertoire. What? Diamond says, what do you mean? Pearl says, we need a visual gag. It's a performer's ultimate weapon. We don't have to come up with one right now, but let's keep it in mind as a homework. Diamond says, okay. I love the little background shot, him giving bread with honey to his Pokemon, and then they take a nap. Pearl says, we need a visual gag. It's a performer's ultimate weapon. We don't have to come up with one right now, but I just read that. Pearl says, what about this? Diamond says, seems like I've seen that before somewhere. Pearl says, how about this? Diamond says, if we do that, we'll need a little bit more. Pearl then hears something outside. Is Platinum training her Empoleon and Ponyta? Oh, they've made the little headbands now. Pearl says, Dia, I'm gonna go see Lady. I'll pretend I'm Fantina so she can practice on me. Diamond says, okay. As Pearl comes out, he says, hey Lady, you're doing great. Let me help you. Cadout repeats, help you? Platinum says, thanks. And now with the Fantina headband on, Pearl says, according to my research, Fantina uses Ghost-type Pokemon, like the Driftblim we rode on. And looking at her track record with other challengers, she clinches her win with Mismagius, so she'll most likely use it in this battle too. What strategy do you have in mind? Platinum brings out her Pokedex saying, well, I understand Ghost-type Pokemon's type compatibility and strengths, but what concerns me is these hallucinations. As she brings up the entry on Mismagius, the magical Pokemon. Its cries sound like incantation. Those who hear it are tormented by headaches and hallucinations. Dang, brutal. Platinum questions, how will I defend against them? Which Pokemon should I use? Of course I plan to enter Empoleon and Ponyta. Pearl then says, I know. Add Dia's Lax and choose a battle in which you can switch between the three of them. Wait right there. He takes off. Platinum looks at her Pokemon, questioning, a Munchlax? How will that fight hallucination? Then we pick up the next day at the Heart Home Gym, where as our trio enter, we see several tiers of stone in a dungeon-like setting. As Fantina calls out from the top, Bonjour! Hello, mes amis! Over here. I'll be waiting for you on the fourth floor. The statue then calls out, Welcome, challengers, promising young trainers. Oh, you again. You keep saying that, but that's the idea. You earn badges and you keep going. Tommy calls out, Here we are. The statue then says, Choose your type of battle. Platinum says, A 3 Pokemon switch-in battle, please. The statue says, Fantina has given permission for onlookers to attend. Use the lift to reach the next floor. They say, Whoa, as the lift takes them up to the next floor. The statue calls out, What stands before you are 3 doors and 3 puzzles. Solve each puzzle to choose the correct door and pass through. If you are correct, you may ride the lift to the next floor. Oh my god. As they look at the problem, Pearl says, what's that say? Is that a math problem? Yeah, it is. Oh god. Okay, you do the brackets first. So 173.5 times 2. Yeah, I'm not doing this in real time. I'm not showing how stupid I am. Alright, the answer is B. Gotcha. Yeah. Once the multiplication came in, I got confused. Which, man. This is why I don't help my kids out with their homework. Math just went right out the door once I got out of school. It's such a simple math problem, too. Oh, thank God. Cut to the Catalan City Pokemon Conference, where Rowan and Berlitz are leaving, I guess? I guess everything's over. Rowan says, We're almost finished gathering our material. Berlitz says, Yes, Professor Rowan. Rowan then says, We're in the final stretch of this lengthy conference. We've been very productive. Let's treat ourselves to something sweet on the way back to the inn today. Ask the staff for local recommendations. I love Rowan. He's such a stern-looking guy, but he has such a sweet tooth, which I can relate. Berlitz, looking through his notes, says, excuse me, Professor, I left something behind. Rowan says, That's all right, I'll walk up the road. You can catch up. As Berlitz enters the building and heads back up the stairs, a figure moves in front of him. Oh, it's the Gibble with a picture of Platinum. Berlitz says that's the advanced grunt, now in a bit of an outfit, hiding his image except the haircut. I mean, you can tell who he is from the haircut. The grunt says, Your daughter, is it not, Mr. Berlitz? We have her. As Berlitz is then flanked by the Staraptor, who brings his talons to his neck, the grunt says, And we demand 1.5 billion for her safe return. Don't try any funny business. Berlitz says, Preposterous. My daughter is accompanied by excellent professional bodyguards. I don't know who you are, but you can't fool me. You can possibly have penetrated their focus and kidnapped her. The advanced grunt, as he gets closer, says, If you think I'm lying, why don't you try giving those professional bodyguards of yours a call? I assure you, they won't pick up. I would know. We disposed of them. And he's not wrong. He is not wrong. The problem is, how will that, it's still questioning, how will that impact how Platinum feels about Diamond and Pearl when she finds out they're not originally who they say they are? And will she understand their, what happened once they fully explain? Will she be mad that they didn't explain from the start? I mean, they have done their best to protect her. That's the thing. We'll see. We're at chapter 35. Mirages of Miss Magius, Part 1. As the advanced grunt moves in on Mr. Berlitz, he says, We dispose of your precious bodyguards. If you don't believe me, go ahead. Try and get a hold of them. Mr. Berlitz tries to ring them up on his Pokegear, but he doesn't get an answer. Says neither of them is picking up. The advanced grunt says, Man, that shingling looks friggin' demonic. No matter where we are, we'll answer your call. That's their guarantee to clients. Isn't that how Paka and Uchi promote their services? So neither of them is answering. that can only mean they are no longer anywhere. He then brings out one of the surveillance drones showing the events of Takenuchi being sent away. As he says, watch, watch. This was the moment of their demise. And Mr. Billets watches as Takenuchi disappear. He drops his Pokegear, and the advanced grunt goes and picks it up, saying, "That was no staged special effect. I trust that now I can convince you that your daughter is, in fact, in our custody." Mr. Billet says, "My daughter. If you've hurt her, The grunt says, "She is safe and sound. You have only to pay us the ransom, and we will release her at once." He pats Mr. Billet on the shoulder, saying, "There should be no hesitation on your part, Mr. Billet. With your wealth, the amount we're asking for is a mere drop in the bucket." Mr. Billet says, "Who are you people? What do you intend to do with so much money?" The grunt says, "We are Team Galactic. Our dream? To create an entirely new universe." I really question this grunt. He's operating on his own. Is he looking to move up in the organization? And I thought CERN might be involved, but we haven't seen her so far. Well, we cut back to Heart Home City and the Heart Home Gym, and I guess they've gotten to the third question because we always yada yada over the particulars. One says, and the answer to number 3 is B. And she enters the door, and there's the lift. Simon says, "There's the lift, lady. You got it right again." Pearl says, "There are 3 possible answers for each puzzle, and 3 doors on each floor. If you pick the door that matches the correct answer, you move up to the next level." That part I get, but where are all the puzzle's math problems? Simon says, "Well, Fantita says she was a good student." Pearl then says, "Yeah, but she studied Pokemon. Where's the division and multiplication in that?" Simon says, "Oh, it's there all right. Becoming a gym leader is about dividing yourself from the rest of the pack and multiplying your talents." God dang. I can't argue with that. As they get to the next question, Platinum says, the next answer is C. That makes 4 problems total. So this must be the 4th floor. And inside is Fantina, twirling and dancing and posing, saying, "That's right. And now you have reached my entire." Oh, there's some weird kind of shift as the kids wobble on their feet. Lemon says, "Feel dizzy all of a sudden." Platinum says, "Me too." Pearl says, "Me too. Did the lift just sway?" The statue says, "Meet Fantina, the Heart Home Gym leader, also known as the alluring soulful dancer, and her opponent, Lady Years of Age." Wow. It's actually amazing what lengths they go to in order to make it so they can't find out her actual name. Simon says, "Feel dizzy again." Pearl says, "I hope Lady feels okay." Yeah, why did they feel dizzy all of a sudden? What the heck happened, though? I want an actual explanation. Well, the statue says, "This will be a switch-in battle between 3 Pokemon, and Miss Magius is itching to go at it." Fantina says, "Calm down, Miss Magius. You will have your turn." Pearl takes note of this as the statue says, "Let the battle begin." Fantina sends out Duskull, while Platinum already sends out Munchlax. Interesting. Munchlax grabs onto Duskull. Diamond says, "You can do it, Lax. Give it everything you've got. Help Lady win." Munchlax gives a nod, while Platinum thinks, "Thanks again for lending me your Munchlax, Diamond. I know just how to use it in this battle." Oh, she has Munchlax use Lick, which actually is super effective against Duskull. Yeah, it's a ghost-type move, and it's super effective against both-type Pokemon. Also didn't realize Munchlax is immune to ghost-type Pokemon, which, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Pearl says Munchlax did it. Then it says, "Lady has jumped into the lead." Platinum then recalls Munchlax. As Fantina sends out Drifblim, Platinum then sends out Empoleon. Fantina has Drifblim use Ominous Wind. That's what you call it when certain people fart. Empoleon tries to defend. Pearl says, "What a gust of wind." Diamond says, "Empoleon can barely brace itself." The Platinum realizes something, saying, "Wait, look again. Is it holding something?" Oh. Actually, yeah, an ice-type attack would be effective. Is it Blizzard? As Drifblim is hit and instantly freezes. Pearl shouts, Empoleon is releasing Blizzard a little at a time so it floats on the gust of wind. The wind with Blizzard on it blew around the battlefield until it came right back around to Drifblim. Fantina says, "Très bien, Challenger." Using the Ghost-type move Lick on the Ghost-type Pokemon Duskull, then using Blizzard on Flying-type Drifblim, you chose each attack wisely. Now things will get très amusant. Allez, Miss Magius, go! And Miss Magius, oh, starts her chanting. Oh, was it already doing it from the start of the battle? Because Pokemon in this universe will start using certain techniques in its Pokeball in order to, set the stage for certain things. So maybe Miss Magius was itching for that fight and was already chanting from the beginning. As Diamond says, I feel dizzy again. Yeah, it's Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and Empoleon. But Platinum then realizes, oh, it's hallucination, as what look like trees start sprouting around Platinum and Empoleon. She says, what? Diamond says, the gym just turned into a jungle. Pearl says, impossible. This must be Miss Magia's hallucination. No, I get it. The vertigo we felt when we got to the 4th floor was Miss Magius influenced us before the match even began. I'm surprised that's allowed, but hey, tactics. Pearl calls out, this is bad, lady. We better wrap this up before the hallucinations get the better of you. Platinum says, I'm trying. She tells Empoleon to use Metal Claw. But before Empoleon can hit, did something hit it? Empoleon's hit in the back of the head and goes down. Platinum says, oh no. Miss Magius' attack struck before Empoleon's. I thought for sure we'd win through sheer speed. As Fantina continues twirling, she says, in this room, what goes after comes first, and what comes first goes after. You solved all of the math problems correctly. Your style of attack takes into consideration Pokemon type advantages. In other words, my Sherry, you are good at solving problems with concrete answers, but I think you cannot handle hallucinations like this that don't follow any logical theory, yes? It was a philosophical way of presenting things. It gives you the mindset that things are straightforward, but in this battle, everything's flipped on its head and you have to think outside of the box, which we know Platinum can do. Platinum then sends out Ponyta, but because of what Miss Magic has done, Ponyta feels like it's stuck in the muck and sinking, and fire-type Pokemon, a little apprehensive about water. Ponyta starts to panic, and Platinum says, calm down, Ponyta, it's just an illusion. But Ponyta is hit hard. Pearl says Ponyta is done for. While Tony was panicking, Miss Magic hit it with a Dark Pulse. Dang. Emma says, so that's why all the puzzles were math problems. Pearl says, yes. Fantina was using them to gauge Lady's personality. Since Lady is good at solving problems with only one correct answer, Fantina must have figured the hallucinations would work especially well on her. Fantina says, one more left, none. And so, Platinum brings out Munchlax. Oh boy. Dang. I didn't think Fantina was going to be so ruthless, all things considered. Like, whoa! Man, going hard from the start. I guess she figured she couldn't let her guard down with Platinum. Dang. Okay, shoot. Props to Fantina. Good stuff. All right, chapter 36. Mirages of Miss Magius, Part 2. Oh god. Pearl says Fantina's Miss Magius. Its hallucinations have gotten the better of both Empoleon and Ponyta. The only Pokemon left is Lax. And what the? Munchlax seems to be, I guess, hallucinating something tasty, but it shouldn't be affected by it. Oh no, a psychic attack though. Pearl says, you've been taken over by the hallucination too? Fantina says, that is right. I did my homework, and of course, that includes research on all of you, mes amis. That is why this is the hallucination I picked for your Munchlax. An endless barrage of food. Yeah, this would be a dream. Pearl says, I knew it. Food. Well, Platinum is just, oh god. And see, I have to assume this has no long-standing effects, or Fantina doesn't seem to like the kind who would really be hurting anybody, but dang, Platinum looks like she looks like a Psyduck, honestly. Pearl says, get a grip, lady. While Platinum's over there shooing away floating puff and saying, make it stop. Pearl says, easier said than done. Max was already lost in that imaginary feast. Max totally forgot we're in the middle of a battle. Munchlax then sees some floating berries and goes towards it, not realizing that it's Miss Magius. Pearl says, watch out, Lax, that's... And Fantina has Miss Magius use Energy Ball against Munchlax. Pearl says, right on the head. Dia, what do we do now? Lax is in trouble. Only for him to see Diamond munching down on the imaginary food. Pearl says Diamond's responding the same way. Like training like Pokemon, while Platinum is still just aching from the attacks from Miss Magius. Pearl says, my headache is getting worse. It's hard to focus on the battlefield at all. Lady isn't doing so well either. How's she supposed to plan her attack in this condition? A Pokemon who's too distracted to fight and a trader whose head hurts too much to give orders. I've got it. We knew that Fantina uses her Mismagius to clinch her battles with hallucinations, and Lady was prepared to counterattack, but she's not putting her plan into practice. The attacks are more intense than we expected. While Diamond says, "Oh, Pearl, these look tasty too." As he wanders off chasing food, Pearl says, Hey, Dia, hold on. Watch out. Ooh. And Diamond, not realizing that he's going over the edge of the platform, falls off and hits the ground hard. See, this is dangerous. My God. Pearl goes over the edge, peeks over the edge, calling out to Diamond saying, "Die." But Diamond just pictures himself eating, saying, "It's so good. Pearl, you gotta try this." Pearl is taken aback as he says, he's so carefree. I'm experiencing the same hallucinations too. Why is my response so different? Huh? The same. He brings up his Pokédex saying, there's an incantation that makes people happy. It chants incantations. While they usually torment targets, some chants bring happiness. Pearl thinks about Diamond and Platinum saying, that's it. The hallucinations are the same, but how you respond to them is up to you. For some people, they cause headaches, but for others, they make them so happy they forget their surroundings and problems. For a lady who's so in touch with reality, this crazy scene makes her head spin, though she knows it's just an illusion. Same for me. But for Dai, since he loves to eat, Dai is having the time of his life. That's because he just accepts the hallucination. Like Lax, his kind-hearted spirit. I guess that's supposed to be like Lax, he has a kind-hearted spirit, so they're not in pain at all. It's so simple. As Mismagius continues to attack Munchlax, who continues to eat the imaginary food, Platinum says, an order. Have to give an order. Munchlax is getting weaker, while Fantina says, it's about time we finish it off. But Pearl calls out, Lady. As he's holding the imaginary food, he says, check out this tasty donut. Yum. And this ice cream is so good. Yum. Wow, I'm so happy. I want to play on this seesaw. It's a clay doll seesaw. Hey, this is so much fun. I hope you get the message, lady. Well, he thinks to himself, I hope you get the message, lady. It's okay to give in to the hallucination, lady. Let yourself go. Enjoy yourself like Lax. And Platinum realizes this. He rushes over to Munchlax and starts joining it in eating. They turn saying, oh, scrumptious. Pearl thinks, that's it. Keep it up, lady. Follow Lax's lead. Then she imagines eating ice cream with Munchlax, swinging on a swing, frolicking in the flowers. F is for frolic through all the flowers. It really is like that. And Fantina sees this and she starts to get aggravated, which is like, no, she's caught up in your hallucination like you wanted, right? We're playing and leaves. And Tina says, hey, we are having a battle here. Mismagius, finish them off with an energy ball. Wait, what did they throw up into the air? Pearl thinks, here it comes. Now that Lady's joining in, her actions will start to synchronize with Lax's. Then Lax will start to mimic Lady. That will become Lax's orders. What is that? What did they throw up in the air? It conks Mismagius in the air, much to Fantina's shock, and the hallucination stopped. Pearl looks around saying the hallucination it disappeared. She won. Fantina cradles her Mismagius saying, you use fling, n'est-ce pas? Platinum says yes. Fantina says, that attack varies depending on what it is that you are flinging. And, oh my, she picks up the object saying, this is a very powerful iron ball. A très rare item indeed. Oh, a held item, iron ball. I've never had that before. I don't think I ever realized what it was. Then again, I don't think I ever used the move fling. Then again, I don't think I'd hold on to an item that I was supposed to throw. But it makes sense. Huh. Wow, they're using moves I had never even thought to use. Pearl says, we stumbled on one when a bunch of minerals and old metal scrap got pulled out of the ground at the Celestic town ruins. So we took it with us. Oh. Platinum says, since you use ghost types, I wanted to fight back with Munchlax's dark type attacks. Having it carry around that heavy iron ball slowed it down a bit, but Pearl said Diamond's team isn't very quick to begin with. Yeah, it's true. Pearl says, we got an unplanned advantage too. In the midst of battle, you said, in this room, what comes after goes first, and what goes first comes after. That's because you use Trick Room, right? Trick Room? A psychic type move. Oh, I've never heard of that either. Oh, okay. Or if I did, I never paid it any mind. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't think it mattered though. If I've seen it, it never ended up coming into play. I think maybe it was used once, but I don't think it I just kind of steamrolled right through it. That's usually how it goes. If I don't remember an attack, it means that either I never encountered it or I just rolled right on through it. But Fantina says, oh yes, you hit the nail on the head. Platinum says, because of that, Munchlax's attack hit first. So it's an attack that usually hits after, but they used it against her. That, Fantina slaps her head saying, Sacre bleu. Oh well, I admit defeat. I am impressed. You have done your homework. You win. Here is your relic badge. Platinum pins it to her scarf saying, that makes 5. The statue says, Fantina, are you sure you should concede victory to the challenger? It appears to me that the observer's behavior, well, it borders on coaching, doesn't it? I never did approve of their presence here. Pearl is taken aback, but Fantina says, C'est la vie. For years, no challenger has broken through my hallucination attack. That itself is worthy of a victory. He pats the statue on the head saying, besides, since the observers were subject to the hallucinations themselves, they could not give objective advice. That is why I permitted their presence in the first place. So nothing prohibited took place here. Don't you agree, Sinnoh Chairman? Wait, Sinnoh Chairman? The chairman himself is speaking through the statues? What? Why would the chairman himself be doing all that? Huh. Which each series, the chairman gets more and more involved. The Johto Kanto chairman was a doofus. There's no two ways about it. He was a doofus. The Hoenn chairman, man, taking charge. That fro was weird, but, dude was just on lock. No, he was also kind of a jerk. But the Sinnoh chairman, so he's been here this entire time. Huh. Well, dang. Okay. I'm starting to question what's going to happen when they actually do encounter him. Platinum says, thank you very much, Fantina. Fantina shakes her head, saying, my pleasure. I love the young people who work hard and entertain me. Study hard, but laugh harder. By the way, where did that other funny boy go? Pearl says, and they all look over the edge as he says, Dia, are you okay? Diamond, balancing Pokeballs on his eyes, says, I'm fine, still a bit woozy though. I've got everything perfectly under control. What a goof. They all chuckle to themselves, and Fantina breaks down laughing, saying, look at him. He really is très amusant. Pearl says, guess he hasn't woken from the hallucination yet. Either way, hey dear, you nailed the visual gag. Fantina can't stop laughing. Well, Diamond says, oh, about what? Oh, man. Fantina then drags Platinum over to somewhere saying, my sides, they are splitting. Merci, you three are on a journey, n'est-ce pas? Have you visited the Canalav library yet? Platinum says no. Fantina says, Sacre bleu, that won't do at all. You must go. All studious boys and girls must visit here. There. Platinum says, but we're headed for Mount Cornet. Fantina says, there is a magnifique Pokemon contest being held there as we speak. It is in all the news. But, as Fantina reads the news, she's shocked as it reads Pokemon Conference missing. Live from Canalav City. Fantina tells them, has something terrible happened? Yeah, indeed. Although I gotta say, man, Platinum is steamrolling through these badges. I don't mind though. They've paid proper dues to the gym leaders, much more so than a lot of other times, when it felt like some of the gym leaders were being dismissed or they were outright evil. Alright, and the last chapter of this video and volume, Chapter 37, Brash Bronzong Part 1. Looking at the news, Fantina says, has something terrible happened? While Chatot repeats, terrible. The reporter says, this shocking news just in. On the morning of the 20th, during the Pokemon conference held in Canalav City, two precipitant researchers suddenly went missing. The missing men are Professor Rowan from Sand Gem Town, a leading authority on Pokemon evolution, and his colleague, Miss Sir Berlitz. And Platinum is shocked hearing this. Fantina says, "Oh my, what is the matter?" Platinum staggers back, saying, "Fantina, can I borrow your phone?" Do you people not have Pokegear? I thought that's what the Poketech was for, too. Y'all keep talking about borrowing phones. It's like, no, we've moved past phones in this universe. Shoot, y'all had cell phones before cell phones were a thing, and smartwatches. Oh, whatever. I guess it's a distance thing, maybe. Platinum goes over to Fantina's phone, which I love the design of, and she says, "Sebastian, it's me. I just heard the news." Sebastian says, "Lady." Platinum says, yes. And she hangs up. He tells everyone, "The researcher Sir Berlitz, who went missing from the conference in Kanalov, is my father." Fantina says, "Sacre bleu! You must travel to Kanalov tout de suite." Platinum says, "Yes, of course, lady. We'll put off going to Mount Cornet. There's no time for mountain climbing. You have to go to Kanalov to find your dad." Yeah, shoot, Diamond locked in on that one. Fantina says, "You had best ride on my Driftlim again. I am so sad I cannot go with you." Platinum says, "It's all right. This is more than enough help. Thank you, Fantina." Wait, why can she not come with them? And he just seemed to be moseying around all over the place half the time. Then again, if she's away from her gym for too long, that does become an issue sometimes. Fantina waves them off, saying, "I will hope for your very safe return." As they take off, Pearl thinks, "We're going to a place where Lady's father was kidnapped. Other members of her family might show up too. And if they are, what will they think of Dia and me? We're not her real bodyguards, but we're escorting her. How will they feel about that?" That's what I'm wondering too. I really do feel like you probably should have told her about this. And I don't think she'll want to stop traveling with them, but I do see an issue arising. And how long that issue will come is hard to say. But they haven't really dwelled on a lot of things too long when it comes to that kind of stuff in this series. So I don't know. Diamond says, "Hey Pearl, you have to help Lady, but are you sure this is a good idea?" Pearl says, "I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried, but you have to go to Kanalov with Lady. We don't have a choice. We can worry about the bodyguard problem after we get there." But as the fog sets in, Oh, never mind. They arrive. Platinum calls out, "We're here, Kanalov City." And there's where they held the Pokemon conference, the Kanalov Library. As they arrive, they look around. Pearl says, "It's so early, nobody's here." They come to a crossed-off section saying, of course they would restrict access after, Platinum says, "This is where my father and Professor Rowan were." Pearl turns to her, saying, "Lady, what should we do now, lady? I think we should find an inn and get some rest. The crime scene investigators will be here after the sun comes up. You're his daughter, so they might ask you a lot of tough questions. I know you're worried sick, but I think there's only so much we can do right now." Something seems to run through Platinum's mind. Diamond says, "I agree." But Platinum turns and rushes off. Diamond says, "What is it, lady?" Pearl says, "Did you find a clue?" Platinum tells him, "No. Not a clue. I heard my father's voice." They say, "What?" as they follow. They come to a building where the sun is peeking over. Pearl says, "That voice you heard is coming from this building?" Diamond says, "Are you sure it was your dad's voice?" But she's already entering through the steel doorway. As they say, "Hey!" Diamond says, "Lady, you can't just barge into places." But as they step on something, it shifts. Wait, is this the Kanalov City Gym? Rourke? I mean, no, not Rourke, Byron. Did they stumble into the gym? Or, no, it wouldn't be a Team Galactic hideout? No, this is set up more like a gym. All these shifting platforms and stuff like that. They're jostled around something fierce. Diamond says, "We're going sideways and upwards." Pearl says, "What's going on?" After their shifts rattled and rolled all around, they start taking off their scarf. Pearl saying, "What's with this building? Is this some kind of crazy carnival ride?" Oh, sure enough. Platinum says, "There's someone here." Diamond says, "Huh? Who?" And Byron says, "That's what I'd like to know. Who are you people? Since you're waltzing in here at the crack of dawn without permission, I doubt you're up to anything good. Go ahead. Try to take me on." Oh. Meanwhile, in Orberg City, we have the one worker with his Psyduck who really wants to just drive that bulldozer. The worker says, "Look there, Yellow. It's the Orberg City gym leader, Rourke, with his Cranidos. Wow, how long has it been since we saw them?" Oh. And Cranios revolves into, Rampardos? Right? Rampardos, yep. The worker says, "Oh, wow, it evolved. Well done, Rourke." Rourke says, "Hey there. Just like I predicted. The worker says, "Did you hear that, Yellow? Rourke knows when his Pokemon are going to evolve. Don't expect anything less from him. So perceptive. You really are nothing like your old man, Byron. He's such a mess." "Oh, I'm sorry." Rourke says, "Nah, it's true. My father is totally spacey, but he does have an incredible sixth sense." The worker says, "Yep, that's right. By the way, Rourke, a few weeks ago, didn't you say your dad called and asked you to come to Kanalov? What for? I know it's none of my business, but I'm curious." Rourke takes a moment, then says something was bothering him. He wanted to know what I thought of some strange activity going on in Kanalov. The worker says, "Strange activity?" Rourke says, a suspicious gang kept visiting the city. They didn't do anything bad exactly, but they've been researching ancient archives in the library. My father took it upon himself to investigate the gang, and then this happened. It shows a computer screen. "Oh, the Rowan and Berlitz." The worker says, "Two researchers attending the Pokemon conference went missing." "Well, I'll be." Rourke says, "I've got a bad feeling about this." The worker says, Yellow was missing for a week. Nice person brought back Yellow back to me. He found Yellow wandering aimlessly around Route 210. How odd. It seems your father was right about trouble brewing." "Oh, so his Psyduck went missing with the other Psyducks too." Rourke says, "Indeed." He then thinks, "But at times like this, my dad often acts rashly. He's known to rush headlong into things. Speaking of which, Byron and his two Bronzongs are attacking Platinum, and as Platinum throws down her scarf, it hits Byron's Shieldon? Yeah, Shieldon. And Platinum sends out Empoleon while the Shieldon sees the badges, knowing what they probably mean. Platinum has Empoleon use Aqua Jet against the Bronzong. Diamond says, "Lady, you're dealing with Steel-type Pokemon. That won't work on it." "Wait, water doesn't work on Steel-type Pokemon?" "Oh, not very effective. So it'll work, it's only going to do so much, right?" Let's see, Bronzong. Water attack. No, it's just damage normally by water attack. So, yeah, it's only going to do so much damage. Byron says, "Ha! The boy knows his stuff, but there's still no match for me, Byron." And he has his Bronzong use Payback, knocking back Empoleon, hitting the ground hard. Pearl says he's strong, and not just in terms of type advantages. It doesn't have a type advantage. The Aqua Jet Lady just unleashed is an attack that always strikes first. He let it hit so he could set up his counterattack. That way his payback attack would be twice as strong. "Dia, we better stop her." And they send in their Pokemon, which include, and I think it already made an appearance, but I'm only really acknowledging it now, Infernape. Gotta get at least one of my favorite Pokemon in here. Because, man, this series has had very few of my favorite Pokemon in it so far going forward. But Platinum tells them, "Please stay out of this." They say, "Lady?" Platinum says, "I'm positive I heard my father's voice emanating from this building. And since this man attacked us the moment he saw us, I can't help but think he has something to do with it. I don't care if I have to use force. I'll make him confess." Dang, I'm not used to her being this hot-headed. Okay, she sends out Ponyta, but does heat work against Steel-type? I can't remember. Yeah, fire weakens Steel-type. I had to remember, because sometimes I'm like, I know outright, and other times I'm like, not sure. I think it would work, but I'm not certain. So yeah, super effective. And as Ponyta unleashes a barrage of fire, Byron recoils, saying, "Whoa, hot! That fire is intense." Uh-oh, not good. Oh, what? But Byron was investigating Team Galactic. Why? Why hide them here? As the curtain burns up, it reveals Professor Berlitz and Professor Rowan in some weird cube. What is that cube? As Platinum calls out to her father. Oh, and that's the end of the chapter. Okay. This was a pretty straightforward few chapters. But the plot is moving. Between the encounter with Cyrus, the kidnapping of Rowan and Berlitz, that grunt moving on his own, because did they get the money they wanted? And was this to set up Byron? I mean, you do that, and a lot of eyes point to Byron being up to something, and it impedes his investigation of Team Galactic. And the fight with Antina was pretty intense, but And will she fully take on Byron? Or is this just because now will the battle proceed or will it stop? And Ponyta, since fire is super effective, Ponyta really would get to shine this time around. And shoot, this is a good enough chance for Ponyta to finally evolve. I just know that's not normally a priority, because they've caught so few Pokemon. And with most teams, they're catching Pokemon as they go and switching them out as the time has gone on, but they've maintained the 2 Pokemon this entire time, which has really thrown me off. So I'm not sure if that'll keep going, because usually by the end of things, everybody has 6 Pokemon. One for one reason or another. But this is obviously a setup. But now that they're face to face with Mr. Berlitz and Professor Rowan, Diamond and Pearl are going to be outed, and I can only question how that's going to go. How Platinum will feel about that. Oh, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and hope to see you later. So then, take care. Bye-bye.